Hi, my name is Anway Forges.
And I'm Abigail Serna, and this is our speech on how fear and controversy became the forefront of the pandemic.
On March 13th, 2020, a day that will live in infamy, schools and businesses around the country shut down for what everyone thought would be an unexpected vacation. Little did we know it was the start of a year and a half in lockdown as a global pandemic unfolded around us.
As the pandemic progressed, we found ourselves faced with so many challenges, such as mask and vaccine mandates, as well as for the first time being forced to spend much time alone with household members.
Which wasn't that a challenge for all of us?
Yeah. Throughout this time, many people have been finding themselves caught in the crossroads of politics versus science. This division empowered people to take their own stances to find the truth and not blindly follow the media in a time of biased sources, as well as rising up to empower themselves and those working and risking their lives every single day to protect others.
Fear and uncertainty were prominent as the pandemic continued to linger and continues to linger. This led to many turning to outlets which would provide any sort of information regarding the pandemic, mainly the government and health organizations such as the World Health Organization and the CDC. The amount of unpredictability and constant changes led to few answers being given and most being politicized. As a result, we had to take it upon ourselves to empower each other to find the true and reliable information to lead everyone to make better decisions which will result in the overall safety of society. The mix in opinions and misinformation increased the angst we felt with each new piece of news and information, which seemed to just be about stats, death tolls, and infection rates, which, while important to keep in mind, only increased fear and anxiety without giving any real solutions or hopes. Slowly but surely, steps to safety were made available, such as mask and vaccine mandates, which made us able to see a light at the end of the tunnel. However, much controversy surrounded these newfound safety measures, beginning with the mandate of wearing masks.
On May 22nd, 2020, the first mask mandate was approved in California. This mandate included everyone except children under 2 and those who had a disability that prevented them from wearing a mask. This was the first mandate of its kind in state history. Never before had people been mandated to wear a mask, nor had the government ever really even made a decision about people's health.
It was a huge change.
It was. This mandate alone created much division between politics and science. Many people reacted in their own different ways. Some chose to stay in quarantine, others followed it, and others resisted and protested against it. Those who had protested the mandate felt their rights had been taken away, even though the measure was made to protect everyone and those around them. While masks could be seen as an inhibitor to daily life, they were no more an issue than putting on a jacket when you were cold, which was just a measure to keep you safe and protect you from getting sick.
The increase in cases also led to another looming threat: not enough hospital beds. In many cities and states, this became a reality as COVID numbers skyrocketed. The healthcare system and the doctors and nurses who worked in it were pushed to their limits and continued to urge the public to mask up and get vaccinated. Many of us came to a simple agreement that the work of these healthcare workers was something to be immensely grateful for. Throughout the pandemic, this was the only thing everyone could agree on in spite of the political and scientific divisions. The support of many around the globe empowered healthcare workers to continue the long fight against COVID as everyone began to rally around them and send thank you notes and care packages. I remember in the middle of the pandemic, my neighbors and I would all come out at 5 to cheer for the healthcare heroes, and especially those who live near us. These heroes risk their lives every single day to help others hold on to theirs. This empowerment through others helped healthcare workers try and remain positive and reminded them that they were not alone in a time of so many questions, dangers, and overwhelming amounts of people to care for, along with themselves.
We are so grateful
for their continued work and for their work during the pandemic.
Mask mandates were not the only mandate which created a greater division within society. As we progressed deeper into the pandemic, vaccine mandates began to come into play. These were more invasive and disruptive to people's lives, creating more controversy around them. Much of this fear and uncertainty was because of the new technology in the mRNA vaccines. A little bit about how this type of vaccine works. When injected, the mRNA enters the muscle cells and tells the cells to produce a harmless spike protein. This spike protein is found on the surface of this virus that causes COVID-19. After the protein is made, the cells break down and remove the mRNA. Next, our cells push the spike protein to the surface, and our immune system recognizes it as being foreign and produces antibodies to fight this protein. By the end, our bodies are able to protect against a future infection and from the virus, and despite what many of us may or may not have heard, you cannot get seriously sick with COVID after getting the vaccine, but instead gives you protection from the virus and any exposure that could lead to serious infection.
I can't wait to see this type of vaccine used more.
Yeah, for sure. While this technology was perceived as new, it had in fact been researched for years. As the vaccines became available, healthcare workers and the high-risk population had to step up and get the vaccine.
And we're so grateful they did. With the help of national leaders, celebrities, and healthcare workers pushing to get the vaccine, these figures, by showing their willingness to get this vaccine, empowered all who followed to do the same, as well as proving its safety to the general public. The soon decrease in the number of cases would also prove its safety and effectiveness. When you look at the science, you find that the vaccine protects you from the virus, and even though it is still possible to get sick from COVID after getting the vaccine, it prevents you from becoming seriously ill, or at least greatly decreases your symptoms you would have had without it. On the contrary note, many people were afraid to get the vaccine because of the limited and biased information provided through news factions, which became heavily politicized, and on social media. This biased lens, which we all see the world through, is created from our life experiences, the beliefs of our family, as well as those who we choose to follow on social media. Disinformation and uncertainty led to science becoming heavily politicized throughout the pandemic, which only further created more unnecessary conflict and confusion. Those who wanted the real story worked to empower themselves and others to take it into our own hands and make an educated decision on what we should do to keep ourselves and others around us healthy in a time of unfamiliarity. Remember to always check your sources and look at both sides of the story.
The threat of COVID and political tensions looming grew steadily between differing viewpoints, which took center stage during the 2020 presidential elections. Democrats were fighting for harsher mandates, while the Republicans were looking to lessen restrictions. President Trump was running for re-election, and Joe Biden became the Democratic nominee. They met in a series of debates, often with Trump negating questions surrounding the pandemic, while Biden pushed him for answers he was unwilling to give or perhaps had no answer to at all.
Those debates were crazy.
Yeah. As a response to the pandemic entered politics, all the science surrounding the pandemic quickly became heavily politicized, which led to a lot more disinformation. Turning on the news most mornings during the pandemic consisted of hearing the constantly growing case and death numbers with very little good news. Social media and outlets also seem to provide information, but mainly opinions, from people regarding politics, science, and anything surrounding the pandemic. The influx of disinformation, mixed with a polarized political environment, scared and further divided people as they struggled to find the truth. The conflict between truth and fiction added an additional challenge and ultimately a choice of whether to blindly follow the information presented or to search for the unbiased truth, trying hard to not play into social media outlets, politics, and rely on facts purely based off science.
The pandemic presented us with many challenges, fear, uncertainty, new mandates, political conflict, and economic uncertainty. But it has truly led us to find the truth by empowering ourselves and others to be a better, stronger, and more informed people.
Thank you.
Thank you.